everybody, wherever you are, however you may be listening. This is your weekly Pick'em show. And of course, this week, I'm here with my buddy Rob. You've seen him plenty of times on Hawk Talk. But of course, we get to battle it out in our Pick'em Championship. Welcome to the show, man.
Thanks, man. Thanks. I'm hoping I need to catch you in this Pick'ems. I'm not
even up there. I'm out of the top 5.
I know. I'm pretty surprised, first of all, on that one. I have to give props to Danielle, because it looks like Danielle's above you. So if she's picking hers on her own,
she is.
Big props to her on that.
In fact, we don't even talk about it. All I have to do is remind her to actually make her picks. So yeah, I try not to influence her picks at all. She picks them, but she has to listen to me talking about this all Sunday as I'm watching all the games, right? So I mean, she's getting way more information than she ever wanted or cared about. But
I'm to take her to Vegas.
No, I mean, she's been killing it. Yeah. So the people in front of me, let's see, we got it's a pretty good race, really. I mean, it's actually still very competitive, fairly deep. So if we look at the standings right now, and of course, if you're not playing along with us, you'll have to play with us next year. It's a ton of fun. But yeah, so if we look at the standings, my buddy Scott is leading the way. He has 4 games on me. My parents are sitting at number 2.
Yeah.
So parents are playing along. Danielle is sitting 3rd, and my buddy Herb is 3rd. So they're tied there. And then at 5th is Scott's wife is sitting at 5th there. So I'm sitting at 6th, and where are you at? You're 9th?
I think 8th or 9th.
8th or 9th.
I'm like a game behind Nick and 3 games behind you, I think.
Yeah, I mean, you're not out of it for sure. I mean,
and I'll be honest with you. This last week, if some few little things went my way, I'd be tied with you, because I missed my Detroit pick, which would have gave me 1 up, so I'd only be two behind you.
Yep.
I missed the Tampa San Fran, because I took Tampa and
Carolina though.
Yeah, I took Carolina and I took Miami. So those are my 2 big, like, I'm always picking a couple games that I think, like, okay, what are the Vegas games, the money games? But like, man, that Tampa, if they didn't choke that, if the Detroit would have went my way, I'd have been 2 behind. I've been 1 behind you, which would have been great. I would have been 1 of them above Nick, who was here last week. I was trying to make a run. And then I was an idiot who picked the Jets over Arizona. I probably should have picked Arizona.
Yeah, see, I didn't trust them. Now, the Jets do seem like the smart pick this week. But yeah, so the ones I missed, I obviously didn't have Carolina winning, right? And not that I thought the Giants were better, right? Like, I felt like that game was a coin flip, because both teams are just terrible. So I was like, well, the Giants play better defense normally. I'm like, maybe that'll be the difference. It wasn't, but
yeah, no. I have to say, I took.
I missed New England.
Yeah, that one was.
Yeah.
Unexpected, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I didn't have New England beating the Bears. Like, the Bears roster is so much better. But I mean, at this point, do the Bears even win another game? Right? They just fired their offensive coordinator, and they have guys that are quitting on plays, and they're messing around on plays. And I mean, this just feels like the same old Bears. I don't know if I can feel good about picking them the rest of the way, really.
So then at least the Seahawks, we know we're going to get 1 more win this season.
I mean, I don't know. It depends on if Badgett's starting. Badgett might actually give him a run for it.
Yeah.
Because the defense is pretty good. So, or at least it was. They seem like they don't care anymore. But I didn't have New Orleans winning that game. I took the Falcons there. And, just based on injuries. Mm-hmm. I thought the Falcons were going to be able to do it. But, man, they looked terrible.
They did. And I agree with you. I thought Falcons, I'm like, well, it's not prime time, so Kirk Cousins probably going to do okay.
The thing that's funny is prime time's the only games Cousins is winning.
Yeah.
He's actually games. So I was just like, he's going to be terrible. And those are the only ones he's winning. The noon games, can't do it.
Yep.
Pittsburgh, Washington. That one was a coin flip. I picked the wrong way. I had Washington at home. Pittsburgh obviously gets lucky on a offsides right at the end, and close the game out. But realistically, it didn't matter which way you were picking that game. You were biting your nails the whole time.
Yeah. I was.
And then Miami and the Rams. I thought the Rams was going to be able to do it. They were at home. They have the better defense. I thought they were going to be able to do something, and they just looked terrible. I mean, they were trying not to win that game.
Mm-hmm. Well, I see. For me, I took Miami because I'm like, my brain was telling me, this is like, what's the NFL? I usually go by what's the NFL script? What's the best script?
Yeah,
and my script is Tua is coming back. They've lost 2 in a row. He's got to validate why he's getting paid. He's got to validate why, why
he's trying to take himself out of the game.
Yeah, I know. So I was thinking like, okay, Miami's going to be definitely more of a try hard than the Rams on this one.
Sure.
So Vegas, I like that.
Yeah, I mean, and that was another one. It was a close game. It was really ugly. I wish it wasn't a primetime game. Like there were better games that could have been in that slot.
Agreed.
But those were my 5 losses. So it's not like it was a horrible week, but it wasn't great either. Mm-hmm. So, and if I'm gonna make up 4 games, like I gotta get some of these locked in and start playing better because we're running out of time.
Yep.
It's amazingly we are week 11, man. It's crazy.
I know. And I mean, I'm not gonna lie. My goal is just to get ahead of you. I just want end of the season bragging rights on you.
Hey, you know what?
Because you're the champ, right? So like, you're the recurring champ too. So it's like, ooh,
man, I was really trying for that 3-peat, but I feel like it might be slipping away from me a little bit.
Kansas City.
But yeah, right. Dang it. I'm still giving you a run though. Like the thing that's funny is, and I don't know why this hasn't happened yet, is when I've fallen behind, I give you all my picks before the week happens, right? So like if it was a runaway year where there's only a few of us, I don't know why you wouldn't just match my exact picks because then I could never catch you.
No, exactly. I know. And it takes the fun out of it, but yeah, I know. You could technically do something like that, but
you could, like it'd be dumb, but I mean at the same time, it's an effective way to win, right? Sometimes a good offense is a good defense. So
true. Defense wins championships.
That's right. That's right. And I mean, in that instance, it absolutely would, right? Now there have been a few times where I've changed my pick after the show before kickoff tonight. It doesn't happen very often, but like if I get an injury report or something that makes sense, then it's like, okay, I got to switch my pick. That being said, me switching my picks after this show, I have like a 15% hit rate. I actually like kind of hurt myself because when I do that, the team that I switch over to loses. Yep. Almost every time.
Always trust your gut.
Yeah, that's right. Stick with what you know. Outside of some major injuries, I've gotten lucky on, but like if I've just rethought a game, almost every time I lose. So at this point, once I put it out there, I lock them in, call it good.
That's how I'm doing too. Even in my confidence, I do a confidence pool 1, 2, where it's, and I usually just go through, lock it in, and I'm done because like you said, you second guess yourself, you start questioning, and then you make the change and then you lose and you're like, I had the winner. I'd rather have like just picked either the loser straight across the board and been like, I've made a bad pick.
Yep.
Than second guessing myself.
Yep.
I'd rather just go that route. So I've stopped doing that.
Exactly. I mean, not that I ever did it a lot, but like a high percentage of the time it doesn't work out. Yeah. And it's just like, okay, just stick with the things. You were picking that game for a reason. But I mean, you can always talk yourself out of it, right? Like if you spend enough time, you're like, oh, but this or whatever, right? There's endless stats. So you can always kind of frame it to pick who you want to pick. Yeah. But so I usually just do exactly what you said. I usually try and stick to whatever it is, because then if it doesn't hit, you're like, I just made a bad pick, as opposed to I came off the winner. Right?
I shot myself in the foot, I was like,
exactly. No, it's it's why I always like to say it backwards, right? You're out there snatching defeat out of the jaws of victory. You're like, I could have had it, but I was like, no, let me just collect this L.
Yeah. I always look at it as, dang, that's one more game behind Bo. I got to catch up on that.
Hey, you know what? I'm with it. I like the competition. So we finally have a good Thursday night game. I mean, we did have last week was solid. I don't want to take away from
Baltimore Cincy.
Yeah. Last week was solid. Wasn't mad at that. This week we have the Commanders Eagles divisional game, and it's 7-3 versus 7-2. Right? Like this is a pivotal game for both these teams. Obviously, they still face each other one more time this year, but this is a big game.
Yep.
The line is a little bit interesting. Is 78% of America's taking the Eagles here, but the line being 3.5 is interesting. Had it just been 3, I get it, right? They're both top flight teams. It's a divisional game. You give them the home field advantage. The hook on it, I don't really get, because the Eagles aren't better enough, right? Like they're better at rushing, right? Like they're going to kill it at rushing, because I think they were the third or second rushing team total. And if I remember right, Washington was like 28th against the run. So, I mean, that's where the Eagles are going to exploit this team. But everything else actually lines up pretty close. And so do I think Barkley goes off? Of course, it's Barkley. He's going to eat, right? But the Washington passing attack is actually pretty solid against the Eagles' lack of passing defense. So, I mean, they're going to be able to square off a little bit with each other.
I agree.
I really like this game. I just don't like the 3.5. I think Washington covers.
Yeah, see, like, I think that's the whole situation, right? The 3.5 is like, if I'm doing a straight up, this week's pick'ems, we're doing a straight up. I'm taking Eagles.
All day.
I think Eagles are going to win this game. It's a home game, like you said, it's a division game, and with Lattimore out for the Commanders, I just think Goddard back. I think the Eagles kind of have that little differentiator, have that,
So they're actually the Eagles are completely healthy.
Yeah,
the Eagles are completely healthy. So outside of their 4 guys on IR, even Brown is back. Now he'll be limited, but he's back. Yeah. Whereas Washington has 14 people out.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's why I think I've got the Eagles to win in our pick'ems. But if I was betting, I would take the Commanders, because I think it's one of those games where it's like the Eagles by a field goal, and so Vegas has decided, well, we don't want to push on this bet.
We want the hook. We want you. We want your money.
Because I think Vegas knows it's going to be a push, and everybody believes it's going to be a field goal kind of victory, and so Vegas is like, I don't want to push on this game, so we're going to throw that half point in, so you can't win by a field goal, or you can't, like you said, push or tie, and then just negate it. Like, you're either going to be a winner or you're going to be a loser on this game. There's no other option.
Exactly. And of course, if you're into betting, you can do it right alongside us here on our Pick'em show using the QR code on the screen. 125% of your first 3 deposits. And of course, there's a 10% bet guarantee in case you followed our instructions and lost. Some restrictions do apply, but use the QR code there and you can play right along with us. Always a ton of fun, and helps the show out as well.
Yep.
All right. So you're taking the Eagles there. I have the Eagles there as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's straight up, I have to. I mean, I wanted to take the Commanders. If the Commanders were home, I'd be taking the Commanders kind of situation. And this is also one of those games it's so hard to, like, for me, like, I also, when I make my pick'ems, like I said, I'm trying to chase you. So I try to make some differentiator games, and I'm like, this one, I have a feeling a lot of people are going to, take the Eagles. So this might be a good differentiator game to pick the Commanders. But just knowing, like, when Lattimore went out for the Commanders, that's a big piece of their defense that I really feel is going to hurt them. I just had to give that role. So I feel like on a straight up bet.
And the differentiator has to have a shot. right?
Yeah.
Like you can't do it and then end up further behind.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
Like,
exactly. So I'm like, okay, so this one I'm going with, yeah. So this one I got the Eagles locked in.
Yeah, I mean, usually where you like to go somewhere else is where it's a true 50-50 game. Not to say that this one isn't, but I think that home field advantage plays a big role. But on some of these that we're going to see, it's going to truly be a 50-50 kind of game.
Yep.
And those are the ones where it's like, well, you can't really pick wrong, right? Like either team really has a shot at this. And again, not to say that this one doesn't. Washington obviously has a shot to win this. They played fantastic.
Yeah.
But there's some games in here where you're like, yeah, I mean, I don't know.
No, yeah, I know. I was going through the list, even in my confidence pool. I'm like, man, I wish I could just bet 1 point on every team because
right.
Every game is some tough ones.
So our second game, first one of the Sunday block. No overseas games this week.
Yay.
We have Packers Bears.
Packers.
I mean, right? Like it's the Packers are getting 5.5 on the road here, and over under 40.5, which means the Bears aren't going to score at all. 94% of America hitting up the Packers here. I mean, this is one of the easiest picks of the day. The Bears aren't going to be able to do anything. They lose their OC, and the team is kind of in disarray. It's the Bears. It's the Bears.
No, it's the Bears. I mean, the only thing that makes it difficult, and I would say just the only little piece, right, is like we know Green Bay, like everything on paper, dominant Green Bay. It's just a division game. Bears are home. Bears have been, are on this drastic losing streak. They're being made fun of in the media. I mean, everybody's talking about how bad they are in the media. Shane Waldron, like you said, is gone, which we knew was going to happen anyway because we had him here in Seattle, right? And he was, I understand the offensive line wasn't great, but still in the end, he was a predictable play caller. It just didn't seem like, so we knew it wasn't going to last long. We don't know how the play calling is going to go this next, with him gone now, if it becomes a drastic change.
I think we do know it's just going to be more bad. I mean, so like, and the only reason I say that is we watched him run some screens that are easy, right? The screens are some of the easiest drawn up plays. Every quarterback can make it, right? Except his protection and the play went the opposite way of the way he ran, right? So the play ran to the left or to the right.
Yeah,
the protection went to the left to open the screen up. And instead of him rolling out so that he can draw that edge rusher and toss it over to the screen, how they throw every screen on every team in every level of football, he runs to the left and gets sacked because he's running away from the play. There's only one receiver in a screen.
Yep.
Right. The guys to your left are your decoy because your tight end is running to the right for the screen. Like, I mean, what are we doing right now? This is like you execute this in Pee Wee football. I don't know what we're doing right now. So do you have faith that he can even execute the plays at this point?
No, I can understand that. But again, every week is a learning week. So you see that. Hopefully it's a learning week this week.
Be a learning play.
I get that. But in the end, I mean, if I'm not mistaken, though, I think even when we saw the same kind of behavior for the first 3 or 4, I mean, of course, it was only for the first 3 or 4 games, but out of Russell Wilson, when he first had his first year of starting for us, those first 3 or 4 games, that dude was running into tackles, right? Like every time he took off, like he didn't know what he was doing either. And then it it clicked.
I think there's a difference though, because Wilson was trying to extend plays.
That's true.
By trying to be elusive and like run around. This was literally, he took the snap and was running and got ran down.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
I mean, and it's, you got you got him missing wide open targets. I mean, there's something not right with the mechanics. And not to say that he's not going to be a star in the league or whatever. He very well may be. I don't know.
Just not today.
Not today. Today is not that day.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, I mean, like all of that says Green Bay is going to win, but it would not be surprising if Green Bay doesn't cover the spread and the Bears actually come in under the 5.5 spread. And if this ends up being like a 3 or 4 point kind of game, like a 24-21, 20 game or something of that nature, I would not be surprised in that sense, given the fact that Chicago does have a decent defense, and you know you're gonna have tryhards out on that field. Like these are these. I think some of these players, even if they at this point are not playing for their coach and have walked away from their coach and are just like, we're done with this dude. Like, get out of here.
They're playing for a contract somewhere else.
Yes, exactly. So we're going to have tryhards out there on the Chicago side. So I could see it being a close game, but I do think Green Bay is going to squeak it out. But I would not say that Green Bay covers the spread. And I don't think I agree with you. 40 points is kind of high for what I think this game's going to be. So I would definitely take the under.
Yeah, no, I would take the under here as well, because I don't think the Bears are going to score. I mean, the last 2 weeks, they were getting beat up by okay teams, right? Like, we're not talking juggernauts here. So they're putting up, it was the Jags game was the last time they scored over 20 points. That was 4 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So outside of that, I think in the last 3, they were double digits once. So, I mean, they're not putting up points. The Packers defense is really good. So, like, it's not elite or anything, but, if you're going against a team that can't score on Arizona, you're not going to score on the Packers either. So that's where I disagree with you. I think they cover the 5.5. I think this is a touchdown game, but I agree with you. I think it hits the under.
Yeah.
Here is a game that is about to be terrible. We got the Jags at the Lions.
Oh God, Lions by 100.
The line is so disrespectful. The Lions are a 14-point favorite.
14-point favorite for the Lions.
14-point favorite.
Ooh,
you almost have to take the Jags, right? Like, that is Vegas making you to take the Jags to cover. That is a huge line. And then
I look at that too, because when you look at that line as well, what I see is the beatdown is going to be so bad. Like, they might be up by like 14 or 15 or something of that nature. And then the Jags they're just going to let the Jags get some garbage time scores. And that's what's going to happen is you're going to be up like 2 minutes left, Lions up by 20, and here comes it's okay. Let's just let the Jags get a pity score. Let's get them their pity 2-point conversion, and they're going to put up 8, and it's going to be like Lions win by 13. So that's why I agree with you. I would take the Jags to cover the 14-point spread, but definitely Detroit.
Straight up Lions all day.
What's the over-under?
So the over-under is the surprise here. 47. That seems low.
That does seem low to me, because I feel like you're going to have Detroit. That means that they're feeling like Jacksonville's not going to put up any points. It's going to be like a Jacksonville pulling a Chicago last week, or like, maybe 9 points all game or something of that nature, because
that doesn't make sense, because that offense can score points. They have no defense to speak of, but they can score points. I was thinking this was going to be like a 35-17 kind of game. So it just messes up all of the coverage.
Yep. Yep. I would agree.
So, but obviously straight up Lions, no question.
Oh yeah.
All right. So let's see. We got next up, we have the Raiders at the Dolphins. Dolphins, to me, they obviously win straight up because the Raiders are just absolutely terrible.
Yeah.
This is another one where Vegas is daring you to take the Raiders. Line of 7.5.
Ooh, yeah.
They got a hook on a touchdown, and the Dolphins defense has been playing better the last few weeks. So it isn't the garbage defense that we're used to seeing out of the Dolphins. No, they're not great. So let's not pretend that all of a sudden they became good. They happen to be middle of the pack now.
Yeah.
Middle of the pack is decent with that offense. As long as Odell isn't trying to murder Tyreek Hill after a touchdown or anything.
If they want to win, he better not kill Tyreek Hill.
Right. 95% are
Oh,
taking the Dolphins here. I'm taking the Dolphins here.
Yeah, in good conscience, I can't take the Raiders. I have to take the Dolphins here too. And I mean, that's one of those. I feel like I'd be throwing away that win to you if I took the Raiders on this one. So I'm like, eh.
Well, the thing that's funny is, every panel everywhere everybody's on the Dolphins here. The Raiders going to win.
Well, that's what I mean. Is like I'm trying to pick these Vegas money games. And like to me, that could be a Vegas money game because everybody, right? Because it's two crap teams playing each other out. That point spread is ridiculous. So most likely the Raiders are going to cover. Do they win? I don't know, but they will cover, and that's what I think.
Yeah, they'll lose by 7, right? So the hook is what burns you.
Yeah, yeah. But I agree with you. I got Dolphins going on this one too.
Yeah. So this one is a little bit harder. So this is probably one where you could pick the other side, and it could go either way. And that is the Browns heading into New Orleans. The Saints are a 1-point favorite. So even Vegas is like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Over under 44.5. That seems about right. Neither team seems to score very well. 79% of America are on the Saints, though. 23rd team in the Browns versus the 28th team in the Saints. Nothing good is happening here. They are without their head coach. So, Dennis Allen gets fired a couple weeks ago. Obviously, that's probably all for the best. But we don't know what this team's going to be without him now. And this is a tough game to pick. Now, I took the Saints. Yeah. But when you look at the rosters, the Browns could easily win this game.
Yeah. That's why I was looking at this one, and I was like, I had actually taken the Browns on this one. As my like, that's a toss up to me. And a lot of people are putting their money on the Saints. And every time I seem to put my money on the Saints, they lose. And every time I seem to not put my money on the Saints, they win. So I feel like I don't have a chance either way in this game. So for the heck of it, I'm going to take Cleveland. Because that's just the way it goes with my luck. But
and I got the Saints. So it's a game I don't feel good about.
Yeah.
And another game I don't feel good about. We have the Rams headed to New England. Yeah. Rams are a 4.5-point favorite. Seems like an odd line for the way that the Rams have played, inconsistent.
Yeah, I'm taking the Patriots on this one.
So I'm taking the Rams, but I wouldn't take them to cover. Over under 43.5, 86% of people on the Rams on the road, despite the fact that Patriots defense is sneaky good.
No, I agree. I think the Patriots are playing with a little bit more heart than the Rams at this point. The Patriots are always going to play with a little bit of pride. They're home. So when they're home, they just, even when they play, when we play them, we beat them, but they were tough. I believe, I feel like when they play the NFC West, they always play the NFC West tough. This cold weather that they're having up there, they're going to have up there. I'm giving the edge, honestly, to New England on this one. So I took New England on this one.
Well, and I like what Drake May is doing.
Yeah.
Obviously he's making rookie mistakes. Obviously that's part of it, but he's protecting the ball fairly well. He's playing smart football. You see the rookie elements pop out, right? Well, but he's not playing bad, right? Like if I were looking at Drake May versus, say, Caleb Williams, yeah, I like what I'm seeing out of Drake May, despite mistakes and stuff. I don't like what I'm seeing, especially body language wise, out of Caleb comparatively, right?
Yeah, I mean, I was going to laugh for a quarterback who wanted to have partial ownership of whatever NFL team was drafted. I mean, he hasn't lived up to his hype. Every other quarterback picked after him is doing way better.
No question. No question. So, I mean, there we go. There's another one where we're not on the same. So
yeah.
I can either pick up a couple of games or drop. Well, actually, I guess we could actually end up even right there, right? So
yeah. Who knows?
The next one up is probably my game of the week right here. Is Ravens at the Steelers. I don't know how this wasn't flexed into a primetime slot. It's a morning game, which is even crazier.
Yeah.
But I do like the Ravens. But I don't feel super confident because they do forget to use Derrick Henry. And when they do that, they lose.
No, totally agree. And it's so funny because I think when we were watching the Baltimore Cincinnati game, and I even text you, like, that was even what the announcers were saying at first. We're like, you got to run Derrick Henry. 8 carries in the first half does not mean Baltimore's going to win, right? You know, like they need to run him. And then the minute they start running them, what happens?
Well, the thing that's funny is it was only barely a win because this was the only game where he had less than 20 carries and they still won. He only ended up with 16 carries.
Yeah.
Which is, it's wild to me. Like, I don't know what they're doing. I get maybe you don't want to get him hurt and you want to save him for the postseason, but you know, the important part of that is making it to the postseason. Like, use your players.
And win, yeah. Like I agree. This is a tough one. I'm picking Baltimore too, just because I have more faith in Baltimore. Yep. But it's tough because the Steelers defense is so good. And again, it's a home game for the Steelers. But yes. I feel I'm still not feeling like there's all of this giant Russell Wilson resurgence and he's that difference maker for Pittsburgh. I'm not feeling that just yet. I think I need a couple more games of proof. So I'm kind of given that edge because, when you have two quarterbacks, when you have a Lamar Russell quarterback off, Lamar all day long right now is going to outperform Russell, I feel. So I'm giving Baltimore that leeway, but I think it's going to be a close game. I really do think it's going to be a close game. What is the line? Is the line's got to be what, 3, 4?
So the line is 3 for the Ravens on the road. So that's actually a touchdown. And the thing is I think the Steelers are going to struggle to move the ball a little bit on this Ravens defense, even though it's not as good as it's been in the past. This is another one where I thought maybe I would stay away from this over-under line. I wouldn't put money on this at all because the over-under is 48.5. And this game
that's going to be under.
Well, but it can go either way because this could be a game where it's, 17-13, or this can be a game where the defenses decide not to show up, which has happened this year. And all of a sudden it's 35-28.
Yeah. Well, here's what I think. I think one is both defenses we know are good, but like Pittsburgh defense is going to be limited.
Well, it's elite.
It's elite, right? So we know, I don't think Baltimore's putting 30 points on the board, right? And I think the thing about it is the reason why it's going to be low scoring and why I can see Baltimore pulling out this win is because I think there's going to be, if they feed Henry like they should do and they focus on this run game, I think with time of possession, there's not going to be enough flip-flopping of possessions for these teams to actually score the amount of points needed. I think Baltimore could take a half, 3/4 of one quarter, right? Could take like 12 minutes of one quarter just to run run all their plays to score a touchdown, right? We can see these can be eating that time. So I have a feeling it's going to be that kind of, I don't think there's going to be a lot of 3 and outs.
This is the only reason I disagree is the passing offense for the Ravens is 4th in the league. The passing defense for the Steelers is 23rd in the league. You can beat that defense, right? Yeah. So then on the other end, the rushing offense for the Steelers. Oh, sorry, not that line. The passing offense for the Steelers is listed at 26th, but that's not accurate because that has Justin Fields numbers in there, right? So that number is probably more likely 13?
Yeah.
12th, 13th?
Yeah.
The Ravens passing defense, 32nd, dead last in the league. So this could have an aerial assault from both sides because neither one of them play the passing game very well at all. Both of them are actually really good against the run. So this may not be a huge Derrick Henry game anyway, which then makes you think there's a real chance that this goes to the over because they're going to have to sling the rock all around the yard. And then because the defenses are good, if there's a mistake, could be pick sixes, stuff like that. So that's why I say I would actually stay away from this over under, because this could either be no points being scored or a ton of them.
I got you. And you said
so
it's 40,
that keeps money in the pocket.
Yep.
That being said, I got the Ravens here, even though Steelers obviously have a clear path. All right. This game is not going to be hard to pick. It is the Vikings heading into Tennessee.
Yeah.
And Vikings are a 6-point road favorite, over under 39.5, because the Titans aren't going to play offense. And 98% of America hitting the Vikings on the road here. The 7th ranked team versus 29th. Vikings all day.
Yep. I just don't see anything coming out of Tennessee, even if their defense is pretty decent. I just don't see.
Their defense is amazing.
Yeah, they're just not going to be. They're going to be able to. They'll limit points, but they ain't going to put up any points themselves. So
exactly. So even at 39.5, I'm taking the under.
Yeah.
Because the only points being scored will be the Vikings, and if it's anything like last week, what they put up, like they put up 9, 12?
Yeah, I think they put up. Yeah, I think they put up 9 points.
It was
terrible. It was a ridiculous game.
Yeah. If you didn't watch that game, don't. It was a terrible game. All right, we got the Colts at the Jets. Jets are a 4-point favorite at home. Over under 44. Anthony Richardson is getting the start, which is actually what made this line worse.
I know everybody's anti Anthony Richardson, but it's a tough one.
63% take of the Jets here.
Yeah, this was a tough one because Houston to me has a chance. I'm not a big hater of Anthony Richardson. I understand this year is definitely different than last year, but I still believe, the Colts are still playing for something here. They don't feel like they're out of it. The Jets just comes down really to Rodgers. And is he going to show up? And it's not even him showing up. I think it's like he throws too hard and these guys can't catch the ball, so this is a tough one. I want to go with
the team going to show up around him
I think Davante Adams is. And this is where I'm wondering if all of it, we get this starts a run of him with Davante, and maybe we start seeing. I mean, on paper, their offense is great. I mean, to me,
should be. Should be, and the defense should be good. The defense should be better than it is.
I know it's almost like the defense has started to slide compared to what it was. I mean, we were talking beginning of the season, going into the season, you were looking at Jets as one of the, an elite defense. And
firing Saleh was a bad move because you took the DC who's never been a head coach before. Now you have him splitting duties. So you end up with some game management issues. You have an offense that isn't working very well, and you have a DC that can't run his defense the same way now. Yeah. So, I mean, you knew there was going to be a drop off in this defense just because now it's being ran differently. Yeah. It's still a good defense, but it's not great. No. And I believe you that the Colts have a shot here, but I mean, the Jets aren't going to lose every game the rest of the way. This feels like a game they win.
Yeah. I mean, I took the Jets also because I feel like after Aaron Rodgers seems to also kind of have these turnaround games whenever either he comes up when usually he's portrayed really badly in the media, like he's become the problem and he's a laughing stock of the media. Then all of a sudden he comes out and has a great game. Yes. Right. That's exactly what he did. And then he has this great game and everybody's like, oh, Aaron Rodgers, Jets, look, they're back on track. And then he has this bad game, loses against Arizona. And, everybody's like, oh, my God, you look like garbage out there, Aaron Rodgers. You're trash. You're the cause, right? It's that. So then to me, he comes in this week. He's got a great game because we've all been making fun of him. And he's definitely one of those if that's the perception. Yeah, if that's the perception, I'm going to show you. And I think Davante Adams is also one of these like, hey, I didn't just come over for the Raiders to be garbage, you know, like he just did like a cross line of garbage, like this lateral garbage move, right? You know, so
no question.
And he forced the concept of I'm only coming if Rodgers is here next year anyway. So there is still a belief in Rodgers. So, and I don't think the Jets have thrown in the towel yet. So to me, I'm going to take the, you know, I was going to take the Jets just because
there has to be belief in Rodgers. What's your other option?
Oh, I know that's true.
like they went all in. They even fired the coach for him. Like you're stuck with him. Like you have to make it work.
Yep.
I mean, it's not working, but like you.
No, it's not. It's not.
You're married to it. Like it just is what it is.
Yeah, and I think too. I think Rodgers in that locker room, you know, he's talking trash. He's telling everybody like, "Yo, I'm the, you know, what am I doing over here with all you losers?" Because you know he's arrogant, and you know he just comes off that way to me. And so you know he's in that locker room being like, "You boys need to step up. I'm not over here trying to ruin my, you know, reputation.
Right,
I'm over here to save you. Now play, right? You know,
on the red line." Get on the red line.
Yeah. So.
Man. Yeah. The Jets are such a dumpster fire. But again, you know, they're going to win some games. Only 63% are taking the Jets here. So it's not like it's an overwhelming, they're going to beat the brakes off the Colts or anything. Colts are going to have a shot. They'll have their moments.
I agree.
All right, we got the Falcons at the Broncos. Broncos are a 2.5-point favorite, so not even getting the full home field advantage. Over under a 44. 62% taking the Broncos here.
Yeah, I got
this is a very even matchup. I like the Broncos here also, though. That defense probably wins this game.
Yeah, and especially after what happened to them last week. There, Denver's playing for something. They're playing with heart now because I mean they should have won that game last week. That was an absolute travesty. You know, like a blocked field goal that like that was not expected. And I mean I don't even think I can say that the refs handed the Chiefs that game.
No, it was a great
game. Unless somebody paid off. You know, Denver's kickers are like, tank or something. That was just what the heck. So I think Denver was stunned and shocked, and I think they're playing with heart. They're going to come out firing. I think they finally feel like they've got a team and the Russ curse is gone, and the talk about Russ and the effect. Like I think that they've moved on with that. So yeah, I've got Denver over the Falcons, and again, after what we saw at Atlanta last week, this up and down stuff is just, we'll see.
Yep. How's it going, Jay?
Yes, we all took your Lions, Jay.
That's right. Congrats on the kiddo. So, since we got a couple of minutes, he's doing so well with the Steelers is because its construction is exactly the Seahawks when he came in.
Yeah.
It's got a great a great defense, right? Elite level defense, really. They have a good running game. The offensive line is solid, right? It's not elite, but it's solid, which is what he came into. They dealt all those pieces away, but his first few years in Seattle had a decent offensive line.
Oh, yeah.
And he has some weapons to throw to. So he doesn't have to play hero ball. It doesn't have to be the Russ cooking type of thing. He has to be special. He has to be special 2 or 3 times a game. And otherwise just make some plays and keep drives moving and hand the ball off. So they're not asking him to do too much, which is exactly what he does well.
Yep, exactly. Like you were saying. Like you're exactly saying, he's not expected to play hero ball. He's not out there trying to cook. He's not trying to make his numbers, right? You know, it's not about, I feel like I'm seeing a Russ that's out there playing not for his dynasty. Like when his legacy in a sense, like Denver was, I'm make my legacy. I think he's just like, I'm happy I got a job. right? And I'm playing for either to stay here next year or I'm playing to go to another team next year
Now
because
he's playing for a ring. He realizes he has something here. The team construction is good, and because of how bad Denver went, there's been a lot of talk about him maybe not being a Hall of Famer, which is ridiculous because he has every record for the first 10 years of a career or whatever. But at the same time, if you finish bad enough, those types of things can creep into people's minds because it's a voting game. It's not stats. So if he needs to be able to show out this year, and so far he's looked good, right? Yeah. Like he's been efficient. He's put up decent numbers, not great, but he's not being asked to put up great numbers. So if he can get them into the playoffs, which obviously is going to happen at this point, and win a game, doesn't even have to win a Super Bowl, but if he can win a game, in a convincing fashion, I guess, is the way I want to say that. If he can really win a game in the playoffs, I think it changes the narrative that has kind of built around him the last few years.
Agree. We'll see.
We will do that. And of course, speaking of Seahawks, we have the Seahawks traveling into San Francisco. And this one is a rough line, and it's probably actually not big enough. Niners are a 6.5 point favorite at home. They over under a 48. Niners, 95% of America taking them right now.
Yep. I'm going Hawks.
I know you are, and I
usually go 49ers. I went 49ers when we played them at home. So
yeah, I don't think I went. I think I took the Hawks there because it was a Thursday night game, and just historically they do well.
Yeah,
but this one is a huge game. Like Jay says, Niners win this game. I mean, it's especially now that they got rid of Dodson, right? Which was our leading tackler. But the thing that was funny about it is it's where the tackles were happening, I think, is what got him out of town. And the reason for that is he was great in coverage, which, okay, but he couldn't stop the run. So all of his tackles, although he was making the tackles, were, 5 to 7 yards downfield.
Yeah.
Well, that still moves the chains consistently. So they need someone that can come in and run stop, which he just wasn't that guy. We had this all pro guy that, was pretty good linebacker for a decade that they could have kept. But unfortunately he's playing in Washington now. I did like the release though, in the way of they signed, they signed Job, right? Yeah. Josh Job. And he's been great in coverage, makes tackles. And so if you were going to lose a guy that was a coverage linebacker and you sign a guy that's significantly cheaper, that is also great in coverage, he's a bigger corner. Why wouldn't you? Right? Because you could play him in the nickel and he's faster. I mean, and it doesn't matter if he's bad at run stop because the guy they got rid of is bad at run stop. So, sadly, Niners sweep the Seahawks again.
I don't know. I'm a put for like, did we, I think, no, I mean, like we got DK back. I believe DK's been a full participant in practice.
He was today. Yeah.
I think Lucas is back. He's been pulled off the list, and I think
he's not on the PUP list, but he doesn't sound like he'll play.
Oh, okay. I was thinking that he might play. I think we're coming off a bye. I think the team realizes if we don't win this game, then we should then we're throwing in the season, because if we don't win this game, there's no way we're winning this division, and the only team making the playoffs out of this division is the winner of the division. There's no wild card coming out of this division.
Yeah, not a chance.
Yeah. If we fall here, and that puts us 2 games behind San Fran, 2 games behind Arizona, there's no shot. I mean, we still have the 2 makeup with Arizona, 2 to play with Arizona, where we can possibly make up, but with no games remaining against San Francisco and with them with a 2-run lead and coming back, there's no shot. So I think if there's a week for the Hawks to try hard, if there's a week for that offensive line to try hard, if there's a week for that run defense to try hard, it's this week. And I think this week
is a make or break.
We can squeak it out.
Yeah, this is a make or break week. Like,
it is a make or break week, and it's a Vegas game because everybody's going to put their money on San Francisco.
It has been a clean sweep for the Niners.
Yeah,
and you know, like I said earlier, that's when that team loses, right? Is when everybody's on them. The problem is the CMC's back, Debo's back. Like they have most of their team back, and our offensive line is just so bad.
Well, we had a week to fix it. Not that you can, you know.
Yeah, but we didn't get Lucas back off the pup until this week. So it's not even like we got real reps in there, right? Like his first day back of practice was yesterday. Is 3 days of practice for Lucas better than the guy that's there? Probably not. For a guy that hasn't started. I mean, he hasn't played football all year, right? It'd be one thing if he played and then got hurt and then came back, right? But he hasn't played a snap of football this season.
Yeah, that's true.
So that doesn't say success to me, right? Like they would probably actually be doing a disservice by putting him in this week if he does play. I haven't seen him rolled out, but I mean, I can't. If he is in, it's probably a pitch count, right? Like I doubt they'll be like, hey, you know what? You had 2 practices. Go do it for real for 60 minutes.
You know, where our offensive line is playing.
I mean, they might
actually end up, he couldn't do worse, I feel like.
You're not wrong.
So at this point, who knows? But I'm just you know, I'm feeling like Seahawks can squeak this one out. They have to. It's make or break to me. And when it's a make or break, that's when the Seahawks do well. And whenever the Seahawks are considered underdogs and everybody hates on them, that's when they do well. It's when everybody's like, oh, the Seahawks are awesome, they're such a great team. That's when they choke. Yeah,
no, they fall apart.
They thrive on hate. It's weird, but they thrive on the negativity. And so
which works out.
Everybody just keep throwing that shade at them because I feel like that's just going to get them that win.
It's been a very negative fan base, so they should be killing it.
I know, right?
All right, so we have the last afternoon game. We got KC at Buffalo. This game is going to be fantastic.
Yeah, I'm so excited for this one. I got Buffalo.
I also have Buffalo. Buffalo is only a 2.5 point favorite, though, because they are given a little bit of a nod to KC figuring out how to win games. Over under a 46, 67% are taking Buffalo to knock off the champs, though. Third-ranked team versus first-ranked team, right? Yeah. So, I mean, like, this one's going to be a battle. Should have been the Monday night game.
Yeah, I still don't understand. Yeah, I don't understand some of these like non-flexing when you have the opportunity to. When you can already, like, you could look down the schedule now for the rest of the season and see some of these garbage games and be like, all right, this team's gonna be garbage. Like, I don't understand it. But then I know there's talk like when we get to the Monday night game, it's the markets. So
yeah.
But I agree with you. This is probably, you know, besides, you know, this is definitely one of the top 3 games this week. And one that I'm looking forward to. I take the Bills. I hate the Chiefs anyway. So, you know, I feel like the Chiefs got to lose one.
Yeah, I feel like I'm rooting against them at this point. Yeah. So, you know, it's funny because like this game should have been either Monday night or obviously the Steelers game should have been Monday night, right? I wouldn't have messed with tonight's game. That's a great matchup. I wouldn't mess with the next one we're going to talk about, which is actually a great matchup of the Bengals heading into LA to face the Chargers. This is going to be a good game. Chargers are only a 1.5 point favorite here. And even America's split on this, on the Chargers at only 59%. So, I mean, it's not crazy. Over under 47.5. I'm a little surprised about that. I thought the line would be higher as far as points. Yeah. But I like the Chargers here because it's one of those teams that isn't being talked about, but their defense is no joke.
No, I agree. Yeah, their defense is no joke. But I am taking the Bengals on this one.
Okay.
I'm going with Joe Burrow firing on all cylinders. Cincinnati doing what Cincinnati always does. Starts off slow, looks like crap. Everybody's like, "What are you? How are you? Even in the conversation," and then just go on a tear, right?
Absolutely.
So I foresee the concept of Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, and I don't know if Higgins is playing or not, but
I thought Higgins was still out.
if he's still out, that hurts a little bit, but I think Cincinnati's going to be putting points up on this board, even if
Agreed.
the
But
Chargers
the Bengals don't play defense, and so the Chargers will score points also. That's why I thought the line of 47 was too low.
Yeah, no, I agree. I could see it being like a Baltimore Cincinnati game last week, right? Like a 31-30 game, definitely high scoring.
47 and a half, I'm smashing the over.
Yeah, I would take the over too, because you're telling me that 37 and a half is the total points, you're telling me that you're not expecting Joe Burrow to put up more than 14.
Yeah.
15 point, 14, not even 20, not even 3 touchdowns. Maybe? Yeah, 17 points. We're looking like maybe 2 touchdowns for the Cincinnati. I think they're going to score at least 3.
And then you have the Chargers only putting up 14.
Which against Cincy's defense, yeah, I agree with you. I think it's going to be, it could be a shootout kind of game.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't love the line. I would smash the over. I like the Chargers at home. But, man, that's going to be a fun game to watch. I'm glad it's in prime time. That one should be good.
Yes.
This next game that wraps the week up is hot trash. Should not be a primetime game. It is
right?
the
This should have been flexed down.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
We were talking about flexing. It's like, this is where Buffalo KC would have been great at.
Yeah, or Raven Steelers. This would have been that slot. Plus, it's Monday night. Let's put the best game on. Instead, we have the all-Texas battle of Texans, Dallas.
Yeah.
Dallas about to get just boat raced here. Texans on the road, 7.5-point favorites, 96%. Taking the Texans here. And there is a 0% chance this Cowboys team, the way they're playing, is going to win. The only thing that was good that we watched out of the last game was Micah Parsons coming back, and he was flying around the field.
Yep.
But he was the only player that showed up to play.
No, exactly. But I'm putting my tinfoil hat on here. I am taking Dallas.
Wow. Okay.
I am gonna take Dallas in this game. I'm putting on my tinfoil hat, and when I read the NFL script, the NFL script says Dallas has not won a home game yet.
Yep.
Jerry Jones has become the laughing stock of the NFL. This is a Monday night game. Everybody's putting their money on Houston. Nobody feels Dallas has a shot in hell.
Sure.
This is a game that has a Dallas surprise win written all over it. I'm taking Dallas this week.
Jay wants to make a bet.
Jay McLovin, not this Jay. I will tell Jay McLovin the same thing. I am going to take his team. I feel like I could wager the beard. I was thinking about shaving it anyway, but then it just may not grow back, and then I'll look really weird for a long time. So I'm afraid to shave it because I barely grow any facial hair these days. But
that's fine.
I just think it's got it written all over it. I think Dallas has a win written all over this. You cannot continuously lose your home games. And I just
now they won't lose. They won't lose or be down by 20 plus, right? They won't be down by 20 plus like they have been the last 5 games at home. Or actually, they might. This Cowboys team is absolutely as bad as it could possibly be.
I agree.
Yeah,
but every dog has its day. And
I like that everybody's dialing in on the 0%.
The stars are aligned. Now, granted, I'm not a Dallas fan. I'm a Seahawks fan, right? So, it's not like. But I think when I'm picking my differentiator games, like I said, I got to put my differentiator games. I got to put my tinfoil hat on and figure out what's the best script. And the best script is Dallas pulls a miracle, the miracle in Dallas. People will be talking about next week.
Yeah, I mean, I hope they signed a lot of people this week, because with their current construction, I don't see it happening. If you've been watching on YouTube, be sure to like and subscribe. We are up against it time-wise. And of course, if you are watching on Roku, stay tuned for the next hour, which is kicking off right now. See y'all next week.
Appreciate you. Yeah. Good luck, bro.
Where is my outro? Man, I don't like the way they've changed everything on here.
Oh, so that you can't, yeah.
Yeah, I got to rearrange all the stuff. So there's that. Here we go.
Introducing National Streaming Sports, live and on-demand sports talk programming that you can access 24/7. For the premier sports talk experience, tap into our Roku channel. Start your mornings with Mac and Jack covering all the weekend sports action. Then pour a cup and enjoy all the sports you can drink on the Coffee and Sports podcast. At midday, talk sports from east to west on the Coast to Coast podcast. Followed at night by some hot girl talk with Prim and Proper Sports featuring Sonia Pearson. Talk boxing on the Gloved Fist. Yankee fans tune in for Start Spreading the News. And there's more on the College Sports Huddle and Sports Scope with Robert Butler. There are 20 podcasts in all and 70 weekly shows, giving us a 3.4-star viewer rating. To find us on Roku TV, search for National Streaming Sports on the Roku search bar. Click on the logo and you're in. National Streaming Sports,